So do you think that so being a couples therapist, the main problem with people staying together is poor communication? Not just like, not just like sex is the issue, so the relationship is ruined. It's more like a communication kind of thing, right?
It's communication, but it's also like the blame game, so like he communicates badly, she communicates badly, instead of like, okay, what do I need to do in my communication? So maybe when I'm telling my frustration, what I'm really doing is criticizing. How can I do that in a better way? Or when I'm sharing my frustration, what I'm really doing is yelling. How can I do that? How can I do it in a better way? Right?
Okay.
So it's communication, but it's also a little deeper than that. It's not just like what you're saying, it's how you're saying it and where it's coming from.
So just to make this clear, so it's like, for example, if like I have an issue, it's not only an issue with what my partner's not doing, it's also an issue with what I'm not doing, right?
Totally.
Okay.
Yeah. Even if your partner is, small example, leaving their shoes in the hallway every single day of your life, and every day you say, can you pick up your shoes from the hallway every single day? It's also your issue because it's the way in which you go about it. It's the way in which you ask. Are you saying, I told you to pick up your shoes, right? Or are you saying, hey, we've talked about your shoes like 7 times now. Is there something I can do to help? Or like, what is it that we need to do here? That gives a better response than, I told you to pick up your shoes, right? How is one going to react to the first one? How is one going to react to the second one?
It's more of like an attack versus like a compromise in a sense. That's kind of how it comes out.
Yeah.
And then with your experience, have you noticed like a pattern of maybe issues that men struggle with and issues women a lot of times struggle with? For example, like I feel like a lot of men maybe struggle with more of the emotion side of things when it comes to relationships. So I was kind of curious, maybe like what women struggle with the most, or maybe what women struggle with the most, and what they, for example, need the most. Is there any kind of like commonalities that you have seen, or like a pattern?
Mm-hmm. And so you're talking about not just sex, right?
So it could be both. It could be just sex or just because you also did a couple of therapy, right?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
So
in sex issues, men often struggle with performance anxiety or expectations around being masculine, essentially. So, I'm supposed to be assertive. I'm supposed to have a very hard erection. I'm supposed to have that erection immediately. I'm supposed to always want sex. I'm supposed to know how to ask for it or know how to get it. All these things around masculinity that are frankly not true. There's not supposed to anything. So that is often their issues in the bedroom. Not only am I supposed to, but also I'm supposed to, and therefore you are supposed to. So I have this role, you have that role, right? So I'm supposed to want sex all the time, and you are supposed to give me sex when I want to have sex, right? So there's like this discrepancy here. And then for women, it varies. As I mentioned before, sexual assault is huge. So that is a huge problem that women come for sex therapy for, as well as sexual pain. There's a various diagnoses of that, but pain in and around vulva is more common than you would think. And then desire discrepancies. So I do or don't want sex more than my partner, more or less than my partner. It goes either way. But even with that, for ladies, wanting sex more than their male partner feels bad sometimes. Like, so for them, it feels like he's not attracted to me and he should be attracted to me, or I should be beautiful, or I should be skinny, or I should be low. The list goes on and on for what females believe they should be as well. So in the sex realm, that's what's going on there mostly. And then in terms of couples, it's a lot of, like we said, communication, how I'm talked to on both sides. I would say there's less differences within the sexes in terms of relationship issues. Mostly communication, how we argue. I mean, I guess I could say that on a whole, men are more avoidant of emotional conversations and women are anxious with them. And so what I mean by that is they really want to have them and they want to have them soon and they want to have them often because that is how they can feel cared for and loved and like know that their partner is interested in them, cares for them, loves them. And because it's difficult to speak in these generalities, but let's do it. But because sometimes these more avoidant type males don't want to have the conversation, it only makes her want to have it more, right? Because he's like kind of running away and she's like chasing him down, like, what? How? Talk to me, you know, this kind of dynamic. It's called, avoidant and anxious dynamic. It happens often. And the sexes can be flipped in that for sure. But more often than not, it is anxious female and avoidant male.
Okay. Yeah, I read I forgot what the name of the book is. Oh, it's called Attached. And it went
Love
through
that.
Yeah, it went through like the 4 different like relationship types.
Attachment styles. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was real cool.